Here's a little historical fact the politically correct crowd doesn't want you to think about. When the Europeans got here, there were over 500 native nations and tribes across the Americas. 500. And let me tell you something they always leave out. They weren't all sitting around a campfire holding hands, smoking the peace pipe, braiding daisies into each other's hair, and singing Kumbaya to Mother Earth. It's a fairy tale. They had enemies. They had borders. They had ancient, bitter blood feuds. They fought wars. They stole land. They took captives. They made alliances. And they made completely catastrophic political decisions. You know why? Because they were human beings. And human beings are universally full of shit. But you don't hear that part. We always leave that out because in this country, history has to be packaged like a goddamn pop-up book for first graders. One side has to be pure and innocent, and the other side has to be completely evil. One side gets the halo, the other gets the horns. Bullshit. Real history is much uglier than that. Real history is just a bunch of flawed primates making terrible choices and then pretending they're the smart ones. When the Europeans showed up, you think the tribes immediately unified? Hell no. Some of these tribes teamed up with the Europeans because they saw an advantage. They looked at these pale, diseased bastards getting off the boats with their thundersticks and thought, hey, maybe we can use these weirdos to wipe out the guys we already hate across the river. That's not native stupidity. That's human stupidity. That is the exact same terminal disease every civilization has suffered from since the dawn of time. I hate my neighbor more than I fear the empire at the gate. And that is how empires win. They don't win because they're invincible. They win because the people they're conquering are too busy kicking each other in the nuts to notice the steamroller rolling over all of them. Divide and conquer isn't some brilliant, secret Illuminati strategy. It's the oldest trick in the book because it keeps working. Because you stupid monkeys keep falling for it. Every generation thinks they're too smart for it, and every generation steps on the exact same rake with both feet and a flag in their hand. Imagine if, the second those first boats showed up, all 500 tribes looked around and said, you know what? We can hate each other tomorrow. Today, we handle the boat problem. Completely different world. But that's not what humans do. Humans don't unite when the danger shows up. Humans negotiate with the danger. They make a deal with it. They borrow its weapons. They invite the danger into the living room because it promised to help them win an argument in the kitchen. And then 20 years later, they're standing outside in the rain saying, hey, who stole my fucking house? People love the instant wipeout narrative. It fits the cartoon version of history. The boats pull up, everyone sneezes, and poof.
Really?
Civilization disappears. It's convenient. It absolves everyone of responsibility, and it's absolute horseshit. The reality? The clock was ticking, and it wasn't set to fast forward. When the Spaniards landed, they didn't just walk into a vacuum. There was a window. A genuine, measurable window of time where the choice to handle business was sitting right there on the table. You had months, sometimes years, where these groups were trading, negotiating, and sizing each other up long before the real contagion hit. The diseases didn't jump off the boat and sprint to the interior. They traveled at the speed of human movement. That means there was a gap where the internal politics, the tribal rivalries, and the "my neighbor is the real threat" bullshit took priority over the obvious, literal death warrant arriving on the coast. They weren't decimated the second the anchor hit the sand. They were busy playing the long game of local politics while the biological time bomb was still being unpacked. And when the sickness finally ripped through, it didn't strike because of bad luck. It struck because they'd already wasted the only currency that mattered: time. They had the opportunity to look at the board, see the pieces moving, and realize the game had changed. Instead, they kept on with the old habits, the old grudges, and the old distractions. And by the time they realized the air they were breathing was turning against them, the window was already slammed shut. It wasn't a sudden storm. It was a slow-motion car crash that they were watching from the front row while arguing about who had the right-of-way. That's the tragedy, folks. Not that these people were simple. Not that they were innocent little forest angels. Not that they were dumb. The tragedy is that they were human. And being human means you can be brave, you can be spiritual, you can be highly intelligent and resourceful. And you can still completely screw yourself out of a continent because you couldn't stop fighting the guy across the river long enough to see the empire coming over the ocean. That's history. It's not a fairy tale. It's a goddamn warning label.